And good evening, and welcome to
And good
Boys from the
evening.
Baltic Star.
And
Um,
welcome to and good Boys evening. Baltic Star. And
Apologies, that was
to
my
and
mistake.
good Boys evening. Baltic Star. And apologies, that was to
Aha, better. Right, I'll try not to make that kind of mistake again. My name's Ben, and with me this evening is Ewan. Are you well tonight, Ewan?
Hello, Ben. Yes, I am. Thanks. Much better than I have been, and I even got your name right this time.
It's remarkable.
I know.
To be fair, I did prompt you like 4 seconds earlier.
Yeah, that's true. I've got a good feeling though. It bodes well.
Well, for your just general information, we are a narrative gaming stream, and on Fridays and Saturdays we usually play tabletop RPGs of one kind or another. And tomorrow night, in fact, we're going to be doing exactly that. We're going to be playing Orbital Blues, our ongoing Firefly Bebop campaign with Luke, who is absent tonight because he's off receiving medals and awards from his cricket team. And he will be taking us and Sock Fiddler, who is active in chat right at this moment, through much grubbiness in the near future, actually fairly far future, but not as far future as travel. Normally on a Friday night we play Traveller. However, in the absence of Luke, which we would need him around for some Traveller, Ewan and I often play one of these things. These are the classic fighting fantasy game books. Yes, thanks, Socks. Much appreciated. This one is called the Rings of Kether and was the 15th in the original Fighting Fantasy series. It was published in 1985. And it was written by a chap called Andrew Chapman. So though Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone's names appear on the cover, and in fact on the spine, this one is not a Jackson or a Livingstone game. It is also set in the future. So we're going to begin, as we always do, with rolling badly to determine the capabilities of our ship and ourselves, because we have a spaceship this time. So, would you like to do the honours for the ship, Ewan?
Yeah, unless you want to share it between us.
Sure.
I don't mind.
Sure, by all means,
We can
let's
take
share
turns.
it. So, can you roll 1d6 and add 6 to it, please? This is going to determine the weapon strength.
Oh, that's good. That's a 6.
Oh, that's
Plus
an
6.
excellent start.
I'll keep that dice.
That's given me a tough act to follow. Excellent. And I then roll 1d6. Oh, wow, there's nothing to add to this. It's just 1d6, and that gives you your shields. This is really, really frightening now, because it says if your ship is hit when your shield score is 0, your ship is destroyed. And, wow. Okay, that's not too bad. That's a 5.
Nice. That's nice. That is good.
So that's a good start.
Right. We're not as much of a glass cannon as we could have been.
It could have been worse.
It could have been.
Evening, Crit. Nice to have you with us. So we then need to do our regular skill, stamina, and luck. And it's the same way as usual. So 1d6 plus 6. Which is 12 for me. That's really good.
Oh, wow, mine was a 7.
Okay.
I should have swapped that with the ship one.
Possibly.
I'll get rid of that dice now.
Stamina, 2d6 plus 12. Which is 18 for me.
I got 16 with a 4 on the dice.
And luck, 1d6 plus 6.
Oh, that's much better. That's a 5 plus 6 is an 11.
And that's a 10 for me. Okay.
Can't be skillful, be lucky.
Exactly. Now, at any time you can test your luck, if you're asked to. I believe I'm right in saying it usually gives you the chance, but sometimes it just says test your luck.
Yeah.
So this book also includes something called blaster combat. Blaster combat is not an opposed roll the way regular hand-to-hand combat is. With blaster combat, you roll 2 dice, and if the result is higher than or equal to your skill, you have missed. If it's less than your skill, however, you've hit the foe, and you get to knock 4 points from the stamina. If the opponent's still alive, they return fire. Same rules, roll under their skill, and if they roll under their skill, then you lose 4 points from stamina. Step 4 in blaster combat says, reassuringly, if you've not been killed, start a new combat round.
I like how one-sided and leading that is. If you haven't been killed. Not, if somebody hasn't been killed.
If somebody hasn't been
If your opponent is still alive.
Indeed. Hand-to-hand combat works exactly the same way as it always does, with the 2-point knockoff when you take a hit or deliver one. And then it says there are 2 modes of attack in ship-to-ship combat. You can deploy phasers or smart missiles. Enemies do not get smart missiles. So, a smart missile, if you choose to use it, will automatically home in on and destroy an enemy ship. It doesn't matter how much shields they've got or anything. It's just an instant kill.
Wow.
Very useful. Combat is conducted as follows. You select your targets, depending obviously on how many there are and all that kind of thing. You can attack with both phasers and smart missiles in the same round, firing phasers at one ship while firing your smart missiles at another. Any enemy vessels you've attacked with a smart missile are now destroyed. You roll 2 dice for the phaser attack, and it works like the blaster attack. You've got to roll under your weapon strength in this case, in order to hit. And if you hit, you knock 1 off their shields. They will do the same thing with their weapon strength, and they can knock 1 off our shields. So I'm suddenly very glad we've got shields of 5. That doesn't seem too bad now. You only knock off 1 each time.
Yeah.
Okay. The spacecraft begins with 2 smart missiles.
Cool.
Excellent. And we each start with 4 pep pills, which we can take at any time other than actually in combat. And each one will restore 6 points of stamina, which is great. Now, however, we do need now to knock off our 4 points from our starting numbers.
Oh, every time I forget this. Oh, Ben. Okay.
So, as is my normal choice, I'm going to knock them all off stamina and knock me down to 14.
I'm going to take 3 off stamina to go to 13, and I'm going to take 1 off my luck to go down to 10.
Yeah. It's a brutal decision. Now, during the course of the adventure, you will also need certain amounts of cash. You begin the mission with 5,000 kopecks, which is presumably the local currency, because if they actually mean 50 rubles, that's not going well.
5,000.
Okay. So we have 5,000 kopecks to spend.
Wonderful.
Excellent stuff. So, you are a narcotics investigator for the Galactic Federation. Recognised by your superiors as being among the best in the field, you've been issued with the latest in interstellar scoutcraft and dispatched, single-handed, in our case dual-handed, to crack a suspected drug ring in the Aleph Cygni star system. Before you can begin, though, you must determine your strengths and weaknesses, which we have now done. It then says, as it is possible you will not successfully complete your mission in your first adventure. They don't know us very well, do they?
No.
Because they can say we're the best in our field, but we are, in fact, fantastically incompetent at these. So, mission briefing. The Galactic Federation consists of several hundred civilized worlds, all of which are signatories to certain basic federal laws and conventions. One of these concerns the suppression of trafficking in certain narcotic drugs. Simply, the export of narcotic drugs from one world to another is illegal. The federal police force has become aware, however, of an extremely large flow of the illicit narcotic Satterfield-D from the tiny Aleph Cygni system. As the individual worlds are supposed to police these matters themselves, there has developed some concern that all is not well with the Aleph Cygni administration. With the obvious failure of the local administration to deal with this breach of federal law, your department, Federal Central Vice, has decided to send a Grade 1 investigator to locate the source of this drug flow, penetrate the organisation responsible, and then destroy it. Because of the possible untrustworthiness of the Aleph Cygni authorities, you travel to the system incognito, posing as an interstellar travelling salesman with a cargo of exotic off-world fruit, spices and luxuries. Once in the system, you're on your own. Good luck.
I think we may need it.
We may. So, paragraph 1. 5 minutes to hyperspace termination flashes on the command viddy in front of you. An alarm bell chimes softly through the ship. In a few moments you'll be entering the Aleph Cygni system, and if there has been any criminal infiltration into the Galactic Vice Squad, there could be a very hot reception. 4 minutes to hyperspace termination. Swivelling in your crash couch, you run a check through your spacecraft's weapon systems. Phasers? Check. Smart missiles? 2. Shields? Check. Pretty hefty stuff for a travelling salesman, though no one's to know unless you have to use it. Until such time, your cover should remain intact. You charge up the conventional drive of your spaceship, raise the anti-spy beam shield, and grit your teeth for the stomach-twisting end to hyperspatial travel. Prepare for insertion into real space-time. The bottom drops out of the spaceship. You follow at some super light speed. Everything flies back together and is once again, apart from the hangover you seem to have developed in the last moment, back to normal. There, on the screen in front of you, is the Aleph Cygni system, the yellow star, Aleph Cygni, and its single planet, Kether. Kether, your cosmonav tells you, is a habitable world consisting of vast expanses of ocean, and apart from a few scattered islands, only one continental landmass. Circling this world is a small pockmarked moon known locally as Rispin's End. Not visible on your viddy screen, but whose presence you are alerted to by your cosmonav, is a vast belt consisting of hundreds of thousands of asteroids. Where will you begin your search for the drug runners? At the system's starport on Kether, on the moon, or in the asteroid belt?
Oh, options already.
Yeah.
Moon, asteroid belt, or
Or the spaceport on the world, yeah.
Or the spaceports.
I mean, any of those could be a door.
True. Some of them probably have doors.
I suspect all of them do. What do you fancy? That's a brilliant little spaceship you've got there.
Well, it's not much, but...
But it's home.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. Let's go for... What's the most door-like? I don't know. Moon?
I mean, I'm slightly nervous because Moon seems to be what Sock Fiddler is pointing us towards, and, you know, that always ends well. But yeah, let's try the Moon. I refuse to believe they will kill us with the very first decision we make. So let's do the Moon. We will go on to the Moon. That's 328.
I suppose I should... Let's map these bits out, shall I? Not to scale, obviously.
Not to scale.
That'd be silly.
You accelerate towards Rispin's End at a steady 3 Gs. When you arrive, will you survey the moon from orbit or land at the only base and take a closer look? I mean, I'm tempted to say we lose nothing by surveying it, right?
No.
We-
Although I'm sure we've said that before and we have lost stuff. But
Yeah,
no, let's do it. Yeah.
But, I mean, if we survey it now, then we can land afterwards, right? I hope.
Yeah.
All right,
If we're
let's
still
try
alive.
surveying it. So we survey the moon, that's a 289.
Wonderful. Let's do some actual numbers.
You orbit around Rispin's End for a few days. Days? Wow. Surveying the surface with your spy beam. There is very little to see, though. A couple of vacuum tents occupied by some prospectors and the main base. Certainly no facility for the production of Satterfield D. Will you land at the main base for a closer inspection, or give up on Rispin's End and head for Kether? Well, it really is socks. Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. We've already survived for longer in game than we have in any previous mission. That is superbly true and slightly embarrassing. Oh, to be fair, we did actually survive some of them. We just didn't win.
Yeah. Definitely not days, though.
So I guess the question is, do we land at the main base anyway, even though there's no production facility? There might be distribution or something, I guess. Or give up on the moon and head for Kether? It's no longer offering the asteroids, so that's got to be a clue.
Yeah, asteroids seems like a bad choice. Well, we've spent a few days orbiting. We might as well.
All right, yeah, let's
check it out
for the moon.
While we're here.
We will land at the main base for a closer inspection. That's 250.
250.
The dome-covered base has a population of about 300. You don't detect anything even remotely suspicious there. A few tourists and lots of scientists and technicians. You hire a small rocket scooter for a few days to scour the surface of the tiny moon. Oh, great, that costs us 500 kopecks. This is going brilliantly.
Nice. That's nice of them to give us the option.
The search, however, proves fruitless. You find a couple of prospectors and one technical team looking at vacuum welding on the moon's crust, but no illegal drug manufacturers. You leave Rispin's End and head for the main planet, Kether. Turn to 333. Okay, so the moon was an absolute dead loss. But we survived the moon.
Yeah, we did. We did indeed. We're going to the main planet.
We are.
I'm worried about just drawing out a big old main planet because there could be like 500 pages worth of.
Your little moon
worth
thing looks suspiciously like BB-8.
Yeah, maybe.
You land at Kether's only starport, which is on the continental landmass and only 10 kilometres from the planet's capital city. Your ship is towed to its parking space where, to your dismay, you are boarded by several customs officers looking for contraband. What, drugs? You ask. They look at you smugly before replying. No, technology. And this, says one of them, finding your spy ray, is an example of it. I'm sorry, this device is prohibited import, and as such will not be returned to you. Good day. They leave the spacecraft. Cross the spy ray off your equipment list. I didn't know we had a spy ray on the equipment list, but it's okay. It's no longer there. Rather brusque treatment, and they didn't even check your cargo. You could ask a few questions around the starport, go to local law enforcement headquarters and ask for some help, or if you want to keep a really low profile, find a shady starport canteen in which to conduct a few discreet inquiries. I mean, I'm tempted to start with the canteen because that's going to be the least obvious to the authorities.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I mean, I would say Starport, but seeing as we're already here, we've probably already gone through the door. So there's probably not another door. I mean, there might be.
It's spelled Kether. Kether, Socks. Don't know if you can see the actual title, but like that, Kether. Yeah, I mean, I was also slightly tempted by the Starport.
Let's go canteen if that was your
Well,
your
I mean,
instinct.
it just fulfills a sort of faint Star Wars thought, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. There'll be good music, catchy,
Yeah.
not necessarily good.
A shady Starport canteen in which to conduct a few discreet inquiries. We turn to 299.
Wonderful. 299.
299. The canteen you find is advertised by a gaudy, cryptofluorescent animated sign depicting a large Crush-class stellar battleship diving into a foaming glass of undefined liquid. The sound effects are deafening, full of fusion motor roars, laser zaps, and dam-sized splashes. Looks promising. Entering the premises, you find the joint packed with drunken flotsam and jetsam. There is hearty laughter, the obligatory fight in the corner, and it's all very, very noisy. A small sign over the bar announces that no aliens are allowed. Very promising. Will you approach one of the barmaids for a tip about who in the bar might best be approached for a bit of underworld largesse? Or just mingle to see what you can find out? I mean, go up to the barmaid or mingle. I mean, I'm British, so my natural inclination is to go to the barmaid rather than try and rely on random social skills.
I mean, yeah, do it. Socks agrees.
Yeah.
I think we'd be more likely to get brunch and or drinks from the barmaid.
Definitely more likely to get brunch. Yes, no question. Okay. We will approach the barmaid. Turn to 30. Old Socks is going to be very happy about this. Hi there, you shout at a young bar wench. I'm new in town, and I'm sort of looking for somebody who can help a young, unscrupulous type of person like me get along without having to work in a regular way, see? Oh yeah, she shouts back disdainfully. What do you do, Zero Head? You perform a quick bit of thinking here. What's absolutely essential for a drug-producing outfit? I'm a chemist. I make funny little crystals for people to stick into their bloodstreams, you yell. She blinks at you a bit, obviously thinking without seeing you. Hiking up her skirt, she reveals a garter purse. Slapping it, she says, 500 kopecks, jerk. Will you pay her or not? If you decide not to pay, you'll just have to mingle with the throng. Well, we're going through our money at a certain rate, but I have no idea how much more money we're likely to have to spend or whether we'll earn any.
No. Or whether it's going to be more useful than driving around to figure out that there's nothing on the moon.
Well, truthfully, we've gone this far and we've clearly made a friend here. She likes us. So I guess
willing to take our money in exchange for information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why the hell not? Let's give her 500 kopecks and see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, for that much money, you could rent a scooter on the moon. Okay, we will pay her. Turn to 323. You part with your 500. The barmaid pulls you close and points out two people at separate tables. One is a pale, drawn-looking man alone with his beer. The other is a fat, middle-aged woman playing cards with 6 or 7 men. Which will you approach, the man or the woman? I guess the one alone?
Yeah, I'd be more inclined to
It's more discreet, right?
approach the person by themselves rather than the person playing cards with loads of other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that. So the man is 314.
Cool.
The man does not look at all surprised when you join him. In fact, there seems to be a certain recognition in his eyes. You talk to him for a while about how you're an off-world travelling salesman before mentioning you'd be interested in expanding your operations, perhaps, to cover a few illicit items. He laughs at you. You're not a salesman, you're a narc. This, of course, startles you slightly. He's quick to reassure you. Leaning closer, he whispers, "We can't talk here. Meet me in 2 hours at the Hotel Miramar, room 1201. He then drains his glass, rises and walks from the canteen. You decide to meet him. Turn to 395. I assume that means we don't then get to talk to the woman as well before we leave, but it's possible we may get to come back. You never know. It is night. The Hotel Miramar is a dive. The elevator is out of order, there's no heating. Arriving at the 12th floor after running up the stairs, you lean for a moment in the doorway to catch your breath. The door to 1201, which is just next to you, opens. A shifty-looking character, putting something in his jacket pocket, steps out. He looks a bit surprised at seeing you. He waits impatiently by the elevator until, realising that it's out of order, he heads for the stairs and clatters off down towards street level. Will you enter or follow the man who just left? IMT, welcome.
Hey, the Monkey Tails. How are we?
Have you had a good stream tonight?
As Ben says, hopefully it went well and everyone survived. And you're here to get your nightly fix of people dying, because Ben and I will probably...
We will almost certainly fail
soon.
at this. We may not die, but we are definitely going to, fail.
If history has taught us anything.
Fantastic. Well done, Rasinka. That's brilliant. Always a bit of a nerve-wracking thing, your first stream GM, but superb.
Nice.
Okay, so we can enter room 1201 or follow the man who just left. Now I have a question. Because the guy came out of the room, then waited by the elevator for a while, not realising it was out of order. Now, I don't know exactly how long it's been out of order, but that implies to me he was in there for a while.
In the room for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because unless it happened to break, just seconds before we got there, it's not like he dived in and dived out and then discovered it was out of order. He must have ridden up in it, so to speak, if he was waiting for it to work for the return trip.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what that means in terms of whether we follow him or not, to be honest.
Yeah. Again, we've come so far, I kind of want to know what's in the room, but everything's telling me that it's going to end badly. All of my instinct, which isn't very good, to be fair. Again, based on previous playthroughs of these games.
The problem I have, I suppose, is this. The door to room 1201 is very clearly a door.
That is true.
And there are rules.
Yeah, and if it had been a lift down, that would have been different.
That would have
'Cause
been
there'd
different
two
because that would have been a
doors.
door. Yeah,
Yeah, but the stairs had no mention of a door. So.
it didn't.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
It's got to be done.
we will enter 1201. Turn to
Those are the
236.
rules.
It's entirely possible we're going to find out that he's just murdered someone in there, but
236.
hell, we'll try it. We will enter 1201. Turn to 236.
It's entirely possible he could just murder us in there, to be honest.
Well, he was putting something in his pocket, so it could be a weapon. We'll enter 1201. That's 236, yeah.
Perfect.
You tap gently on the door. No answer. You tap again. A groan comes from within. You try the door, but it's locked. The seconds are ticking away. The ever more distant sound of steps going down can still be heard. Will you force your way into the room, or go in pursuit of the man who just went down the stairs? This is a "are you sure" moment, isn't it?
It is. But they also they lure you in with the mystery of the door not being answered.
Okay.
Your choice, Ben.
All right. Here's what I'm thinking. Even though it's a door and we could probably force our way in, the guy who we were supposed to meet here is, for whatever reason, unable to answer the door, so he's not in a fit state to meet us. So the whole reason for coming here is gone.
Yeah.
He might be injured, he might be dead, he might be unable to give us any useful information, but whatever, he's not in a fit state to help. Whereas the guy running down the stairs might actually be a really useful lead.
Come on then, let's do it.
All right.
Let us pursue them.
Okay. We'll go in pursuit of the man who just went down the stairs. Turn to 197. You run down the stairwell, but by the time you reach ground level and launch yourself into the street, the man is nowhere to be seen. You've lost him. Suddenly a scream comes from above you. Murder! Just what you need. Within seconds, Proctor helijets descend from the sky, landing in the street and on the hotel's roof. Another helijet, hovering between the surrounding buildings, fixes a room on the 12th floor, most certainly 1201, with a spotlight. Proctors, procs, cops, call them what you will, seem to be everywhere. Not knowing if the local procs can be trusted, you decide to lie low. Next day, you head off to the city central library to see if anything can be found out about the man you saw running down the stairs. At least you know what he looks like. Turn to 80.
It's probably a good thing that we didn't go in.
Yeah, maybe. It's certainly possible. The City Central Library is an enormous complex housing millions of volumes of viddies, microfilms, and even a few books. It's almost devoid of human life when you arrive. There is no organic staff, and most subscribers get the information or volumes they want sent to them by cable. Bear in mind this was written in 1985. You seat yourself at a terminal marked "for public use only." Will you start by looking through old Vidi news for something on local organised crime, or look up some government release statistics instead?
It's got to be Biddy news, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, government release statistics, I don't think we can trust them, can we? Because it says, we're not, the government isn't really capable of taking care of its own affairs, so why would they be honest about the stats?
Yeah, and what are our stats going to help us find out?
No idea. I'm not entirely convinced that a library is where I'd go to look for finding a fleeing man, but you never know. On the Vidi news, we might find him in a shot or something.
We're just laying low after a murder. Let's go to the library.
So turn to 41. Something on local organised crime, yes, 41. After several hours scanning the previous several years' daily news releases and case lists, it becomes evident there's very little to find. No articles at all on organised manufacture or dealing of drugs, and only one tiny snippet under a case list released 4 years ago, which reads Central Criminal Court 3, State versus Z. Gross and B. Blaster Babbitt. Before Justice Zark. Charge, trafficking in illicit organic materials, Satterfield D. Sitting, 10:30 a.m. After that, there's nothing. No record of conviction, nothing. You look them up in a Videophone directory and find an address for B. Babbitt, but nothing for Z. Gross. Will you go and look over B. Babbitt's address, or go to the State Computer File Centre to see if anything else about these two can be uncovered?
I'd say, seeing as we're here, we might as well look up more. But that's under the assumption that we'll still get to go to the address later.
Which you
Which
don't
isn't always
get to do.
Isn't always the case.
Let's try it. That was your first instinct, so let's give it a shot. We'll go to the file centre. 246. The State Computer File Centre is a squat, ugly rectangle of concrete surrounded by a few kilometres of razor wire. A large metal sign, wired to one of the fences, flaps lazily in the wind. Trespassers prosecuted. There is, however, a public entrance into a tiny pillbox set away from the main building. You enter this building and notice to your dismay yet another large sign. Only those files which are more than 100 years old will be released for public perusal. It seems that you're going to have to resort to a felony to get the information you want. Will you try bribery or breaking and entering? Those are our only choices, by the way. Bribery or breaking and entering. There's no... Actually, it's probably not worth searching these files. Let's go and do something else.
Change your mind. Yeah.
There's no let's do brunch instead. Nothing of that. We can bribe people or breaking and entering. And I'm tempted to say breaking and entering sounds more like a door.
Yeah, certainly.
Exactly, Socks. Exactly. Breaking and entering it is. We'll turn to 90. Breaking and entering can only end brilliantly.
As long as we don't go to a window.
You come back to the centre when it's dark. Not that it being dark has much relevance to your chances of being detected, but at least most of the staff should be away. You don't even attempt to go over the razor wire, certain detection there. Instead, you climb up a drain pipe on the pillbox set aside for public inquiries. You reach the roof. From here, you climb along an insulated cable, which runs between the pillbox and the main building, until you're on the roof of the actual centre. You open a skylight and drop into the building. Test your luck.
Skylight's a door.
Definitely a door. So one of us needs to test our luck.
Wonderful. Do you want me to do this one?
Yeah, by all means. You do it this time.
And it's 2D under your luck.
Yeah.
And then reduce it. Which is good. I got an 8 and my luck is 10.
Excellent. I'm afraid that costs you a luck point, but we are lucky.
My luck is now 9.
If you're successful, turn to 119. Brilliant. You're in an office area, and there, not 2 metres from you, is a video link to the centre's files. Hastily, you begin to retrieve information from it. Turn to 393. Consulting the file directory on the terminal reveals that you can only have access to transport files, nothing personal, legal or even remotely criminal. So you have a quick look through the transport files and notice almost immediately that large sections are missing from the air traffic records. Days, weeks, maybe more. There has either been some enormous bureaucratic incompetence or, as seems more and more likely, a cover-up. What could they be hiding? Flights from certain locations? You could be discovered at any moment. Will you continue to search through the files or go in search of the person most likely to be responsible for the missing files? The chief of the air traffic control. If the information we've got is that the data's missing, then I'm tempted to go looking for the guy, right?
Yeah,
I guess.
that makes sense.
Give it a shot. We'll go looking for the person, the chief of air traffic control. Turn to 89. You go to the main heliport where the air traffic chief works. Now, should you follow him home from work to confront him, or try to get into his office when he's not there? I mean, his office might have a door.
You would imagine his office definitely has a door. And we've got a responsibility.
Yeah, and
frankly.
since that's where we are, let's open the door.
Yeah.
We'll try to get into his office when he's not there. Turn to 257. A quick search of the directory in the foyer of the port administration block reveals the location of the air traffic chief's office. You knock on his door, but there is no reply. Quietly you open it and step in. Throw a die. If the result is even, turn to 218. Odd, turn to 23. My turn.
Yeah.
I just have no idea what's a good one, obviously.
Yeah, at least you can't be blamed because you don't know what you're aiming for. So.
That was a 6, so it is even. Turn to 218.
218.
218. The office is empty, bar the usual equipment and furniture. You probably won't have very long, so will you search on the vidi in his room for the private computer files, or go through his desk drawers instead?
Ooh.
I mean, a drawer is a door.
Yeah, I think we've got to, haven't we?
I feel there are rules.
Yeah.
We'll go through the desk drawers. 179. They're unlocked and contain mainly junk. Mainly, but not completely. For there, under a pile of bent paper clips and rusting staples, is a gem. It's a letter from the head customs officer to the air traffic chief. Dear Eastho, here's your cheque. Note that today's flight from the East Coast, number 212, was unusual and should be written off as per the others. Contents will be cleared tomorrow, so tomorrow's shuttle to Tau Ceti, number 005, should also be written off. The cheque is for 3,000 kopecks. Will you pay a visit to customs, or try to find someone in the space industry who might know about the illegal traffic, to Tau Ceti for instance, hinted at in the letter?
This seems like a tough one.
Does. I don't know. If we go to customs, then we're pretty much giving up our cover, aren't we?
Yeah, we're confronting someone and giving up our cover, I guess.
That may be the right thing to do. We may get to be, an avenging, like an air marshal charging around shooting bad guys. Or it might be better to stay under the radar. And I guess given that both the head of customs and the air traffic chief are dirty, it's reasonable to assume perhaps that we should try to stay under the radar because everybody could be dirty.
Yeah, I mean, we've probably got enough to get them in trouble, but not to shut down the whole operation, which is the plan, isn't it?
So, try to
find
find
out where it's
someone in
come
the
from.
space industry who might know about the illegal traffic.
Yeah, let's do it.
At least that way we're not just poking through another office looking for evidence, which we seem to have been doing a lot of that recently. The
We could lick
library
air
and
marshal.
then the archives and now the now the office. Okay, so yeah, we will find someone in the space industry who might know about the illegal traffic. Turn to 384.
Wonderful.
Will you conduct your inquiries at Kether's starport or in the city? God. I'm tempted to say starport just because of who we're looking for.
Yeah, and we didn't actually look around the starport, did we? But
No,
this
I don't
time
think
it
we
has
did.
a door because we're not already in it.
Yeah, we charged straight to the nearest dive bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Very much unlike
Conduct
us.
inquiries at Kether's starport. 345. The starport is divided, roughly, into two sections. There are the enormous spaceship hangars, of which only one seems to be in use, and there are the administrative and traffic control buildings. In which section will you begin inquiries? The hangars or the administrative block? What do you fancy?
Hangars?
Sure, why not? Hangars. Turn to 306. All of the hangars but one are deserted. In this one, you find a lone shuttle pilot performing a system check on his spacecraft. He ignores you as he goes laboriously through panel after panel of instruments, flicking switches, reading meters, making adjustments. You decide to approach him for some information. Will you offer him cash for this or not?
I think we need to.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. We will offer him some cash. Turn to 267. He agrees to talk to you for 500 kopecks. Obviously. Which it turns out is the price of everything.
Yeah. Well.
So subtract 500 kopecks and turn to 228. Illegal space traffic, he muses, turning a few switches on the panel in front of him. Yeah, a bit of that goes on around here, so I'm told. You press him to be more specific. Well, he says, looking around to make certain that no one's listening. There's this asteroid, C230, out in the main belt, which has a lot of suspicious comings and goings. You might try there. The coordinates for it will be in any cosmonav. Will you take his advice and have a look around the asteroid, or go back to the city to try to verify his information? I mean, even if the information we find in the city says he might be lying to us, we're still going to go and check it out if we get the option, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we've got to. Guess
Let's try
it's been
C230
dangled in front of us.
out in the main belt. Okay. We will take his advice and have a look at this asteroid. You're absolutely right, Socks. It's a doorway sin. We will take his advice, have a look at the asteroid, turn to 73. You rocket out to asteroid C230. If your own spacecraft has been destroyed, you'll have to pay out 2,000 kopecks to hire another for the trip. No, it hasn't been destroyed. We may have done many things wrong, but this is not one of them.
Not yet.
C230 is about 300 metres in diameter, with the only signs of habitation being a dock and a few antennae. Seems to be fairly quiet, though. At least your arrival hasn't resulted in the launching of any anti-shipping missiles. Yet. You don your pressure suit and spacewalk around the outside of the rock, discovering, seemingly, only 3 ways of entering the dock area. A small emergency entry hatch, and an air conditioning radiator vent. Entering via the dock will be a bit obvious, so will you try the hatch or the vent?
Both feel like doors.
They do, don't they? I mean, a hatch is more obviously a door.
Yeah.
But a vent is still possibly a... Hatch, says Socks. I think a hatch is obviously a door, yes?
Yeah.
More doorish. Yeah.
I think in all fairness, Socks has never got us killed yet, whereas we have got ourselves killed many a time.
I have a vague feeling that it might have been Socks' enthusiasm for sticking our hands in logs that got us bitten by a poisonous snake at one point.
Maybe.
But to be fair... Oh, yes, and the one time with the volcano. But...
Yeah. The poisonous snake didn't kill us, though, did it? It just completely
just weakened us,
destroyed our stats.
The next squirrel we met killed us.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, we'll try the hatch. Turn to 34. The hatch opens into a small antiseptic airlock. Once through this, however, you find a rough-hewn corridor dimly lit with yellow arc lights, leading towards the centre of the asteroid. The walls of the corridor have evidently been treated with some kind of plastic to prevent the air inside from filtering away into space. Weightless, you follow the corridor until it enters a spherical room. Above you, a tiny niche is cut into the wall. Its contents lie in darkness. In front of you, the corridor continues out of the room and further into C230. Will you follow the corridor or examine the niche? I mean, a niche could be a door.
Yeah. It could be, a little hidey spot for illicit substances, which is what we're trying to find, really, isn't it? Or at least some evidence thereof.
Yeah. And assuming we survive looking in the niche, we can presumably keep going, yeah?
Yeah. Lick niche.
Lick niche. Clearly the way to go. We will examine the niche. Turn to 375. The niche contains a small plaque. Prayer to Thuvald. Hidden is he, mighty is he, his time returns, hold, wait, be still. Strange. Finding nothing else, you continue out of the room and down the still rough-hewn corridor. This is definitely a Grey Hill toast, and I'm wondering if that's actually a clue as to how to survive. Hold, wait, be still, maybe. Anyway. Yeah. So, nothing else in the niche, so we continue out of the room and down the still rough-hewn corridor. Turn to 336.
336.
The dim corridor arches and ends at a rocky intersection. While floating there in the yellow light, deciding which way to go, you hear voices. Low, sonorous tones drift to your ears. Will you go down the corridor which leads to these voices, or take the other passage? Do we go towards the noise?
Yeah.
I mean, they say low, sonorous tones, so it doesn't sound like they're angry or anything.
I mean, that's clearly because they haven't met us yet.
That's true. Yeah, we should be able to enrage them. Well, I mean, not only will we try and open every door to everything, even if it's marked private, but then we'll start licking things, so we're bound to enrage them. Yeah, so we'll lead to the voices. Go down the corridor which leads to the voices. 397. Cautiously, you drift towards the voices until you come to a room. The passage seems to enter it through the ceiling, for there, upside down in zero gravity, two figures are floating. They're each garbed head to toe in large, sack-like black robes. They look like some order of weightless monks. Weightless monks? There's got to be a thing there, weightless monks. Like Douglas Adams and his electric monk, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The holy malevolence is stirring again, says one. Yes, says the other, it is. It will be wanting a toy again, continues the first. Yes, it will. The second one is not contributing much to this conversation. Will you stay where you are, confront them, or retreat back to the intersection and down the other passage? Oh, Luke, it's lovely to have you with us, even if only for 5 minutes. We've just encountered some weightless monks for some reason. I don't know why exactly they're weightless monks as opposed to just monks who happen to be in weightlessness, which is, where we are. But
more importantly, we're still alive.
We are. We're still alive. You got best bowler. Oh, well done.
To be fair, I didn't see his name on the trophy. I think he just lined them up for a photo opportunity. Actually, no, that's not true, because he's DMing for us tomorrow.
He is.
I don't want to die.
Yep.
Luke got best everything.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, well, I'm very, very pleased that you did well and had a good time, I hope. So are we going to just stay where we are, confront them, or retreat back? I mean, dumb question, but didn't the thing in the plaque say hold and wait and be still or something?
It did. And they are weightless monks.
So maybe we stay where we are and see if they do something.
Yeah.
Okay, let's give it a shot. I mean, this is probably how we die, of course, but yes, it's gone midnight and we're still alive. It is going brilliantly, and our ship hasn't been damaged yet. In fact, we haven't had any combat yet, believe it or not.
No, which maybe is why we're still alive. But we've visited quite a few paragraphs.
We have,
to be fair.
Yeah.
Done rather well.
So we will try staying where we are. Turn to 258. 258. This, of course, is where we immediately die.
Yeah.
Somewhere, a gong sounds. The deep resonance booming through the asteroid causes the very rocks to vibrate. The two men bow their heads in response and float off down another corridor. After a moment, you follow them, coming eventually to a nexus. More black-robed figures are pouring out of other corridors and into a great hall. Seems to be quite a gathering. Will you try to slip into the hall unnoticed after the last men enter, or take a ramp next to the hall?
Hmm.
Right. Good night, Luke. Sleep off the booze, and have a. That's a ridiculously early start, but I wish you best of luck with it.
Sleep in the car. I'm going to be honest, Ben. I don't know whether any of those things sound like hold, wait, or be still.
Slip into the hall or take a ramp. No, they don't. And slipping into the hall unnoticed could be going through a door, but so could the ramp be a door. Good night, Luke. I can't decide. Have you got a preference?
Let's sneak in.
Sneak in. Okay.
Yeah.
We will turn to 180. Test your luck.
Oh.
My turn.
It has been a while, to be fair, since
That's
we've
a
had to test
7.
that.
I can't remember what my luck is. It's 10 at the moment. That's good.
Nice.
So, lucky we are. If you're successful, turn to 102. You float cautiously into the hall and take up a place behind a row of black-clad figures who are thronging the hall. They begin to chant and sway. A couple of men out front swing burning incense in great circles. Soon a man, obviously the MC, or high priest, appears out in front and begins a long prayer to some holy malevolence, known as Tuvald. Obviously you have the wrong place. This is a monastery, a weird one no doubt, but still a monastery. You sneak out of the hall, away from C230, and head back to Kether. Turn to 231. Okay. Well, we are ruling out entire sections here. Turn to 231.
231. Back to Kether.
You have very little to go on, really. Almost no options at all. Will you return to Kether's capital city to have a look around, search in space for a new clue, or search for C230, assuming you've heard of it and have not already sorted out? We have. So our choices are return to Kether's capital city, or search in space.
Or search in space.
I mean, truthfully, we've already done the moon. We've done at least one asteroid.
Yeah.
We did poke around a bit at the capital city, but we only followed like one lead, didn't we?
Yeah. Do you want to check out some more capital city?
Yeah, let's give it a shot. Turn to 75. Kether's capital city is definitely a door.
Well, yes, that's true. It's almost certainly has more than one door.
In the city, you visit a lot of cheap dives, a few of the places you were at before, and ask a lot of questions, all to no avail. Everything seems to have gone underground. The organisation has finally been alerted to your presence. Turn to 16.
Oh, what? Don't tell me this is how it ends.
This could be so bad.
Hi, Kelly, by the way. You've tuned in for possibly...
Kelly, hello.
The end of our adventure.
You've timed it perfectly, Kelly. You have no leads left to follow. Still, you persist for a few more weeks before receiving a recall from Federal Central Vice. You have failed.
Wow.
And that's where it ends. That is horrifying.
It felt like we were doing really well. We were surviving.
We were surviving, yeah. No, Kelly, you didn't. It turns out that this one is a slightly um, different kind of tone and structure to some of them. There was a lot less fighting of monsters and killing things. I mean, if I flick through it, I'm sure I'll be able to find some, but
Mm.
there wasn't a lot. Oh,
I'm a little
apparently
bit
you could have had a
disappointed.
battle with the monks. Just found monks. Actually, there's quite a few in here. Security
we
guards
just
and robots and all sorts of
we
things.
just avoided them all.
Yeah, because we went through. We were so sort of cautious and tentative in our things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could have barged if we barged down the hotel door. We'd probably get found at a murder scene,
That's true.
which could
Yeah.
go several ways.
Well,
The
I mean, there are lots of things
the
we could have.
canteen definitely has to have had some kind of bar fight in there, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah. There's bound to have been something.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we ran out of the choices we had, but the decisions we made, Socks, I don't think they were stupid decisions. They just didn't go anywhere, and we made a few sort of risky choices. They just didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Um, oh well,
Mm.
such is life. On the plus side, yeah, I think you're probably right, Socks. I think we were a little bit too cautious. Um, well, it's possible the story did reward smart play, Kelly, and we weren't smart enough. Of course, that is a
This
possibility.
is very possible.
Um,
And to be fair, I think these are designed that you would then take the other options next time you played it through and
yeah,
check off a few more boxes, and eventually you'll find your way through it. That's what I
yes.
keep telling myself anyway. It makes me feel better when we die every time.
Well, I have to say, in many ways, this was one of our most successful run-throughs.
Yeah, we saw a lot of saw a lot of text.
We saw a lot of text,
I
and
feel.
we lived.
Yeah, and we didn't lose too many stats. Or I'm a bit disappointed we didn't take part in any space combat.
Yes.
I was quite excited, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
we didn't get to blow anything up with our smart missiles, and we did stay alive literally for weeks. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. There was a lot of days in between. Days observing the moon and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did all right.
We did okay. Not
It's
our
another one of
finest hour.
those. Yeah, we didn't win, we didn't die, but we survived.
Yeah. This story seemed a bit like we had there seemed to be a lot of things where you can do this or you can do that. Well, you didn't get a lot of breadth in the choices. There were a lot of binary decisions.
Yeah,
Um,
which had a lot of difference between the
yeah,
options, I think.
but I imagine if you're writing a book like this, it's easier to structure things that way to make sure people get a chance to do everything. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us, Socks, and very
Thanks,
good night to you.
Socks. Yes, good night.
And obviously, we'll see you tomorrow evening for some. Yes, yes, you're absolutely right, Crit. Normally, you have to bug out at some point, but on this occasion, it turns out we just suck at these books. So
This is by no means the shortest one that we've done, though.
no,
There was some where we died very quickly.
yeah.
In fact, wasn't it the one that we completed? We
Yes.
died in like the third room, and then just decided to, it's
Yep.
been so quick. We'll start over again, and then we won the book.
Yeah, we did, which makes it so much worse because if we now
count.
know that if we just made one different choice,
Mm-hmm.
we would have had our first ever win.
Yeah.
Ah, well. Yes. Okay, well, thank you very much. Good night, Socks. See you tomorrow, of course.
Yeah, good night.
And I'm very pleased that we stayed up long enough for Luke to have stuck his head in to find out if we were dead, and then leave, and he will never know that we died like 4 minutes later, or failed like 4 minutes later.
Yeah, because no one's going to tell him, right? We've all got this understanding now that Luke doesn't need to know.
The Way of the Tiger game looks interesting. There was one I played as a kid. I don't think this was the name of the whole thing, but it was maybe the name of one of them, called The Rack of Baal. I can't remember if that was like one of a series or was the whole thing was called that, and there were individual titles. But yes, I am keeping my eye open now because they've republished some of the Fighting Fantasy ones, and there are a few others that I'm keeping a look at, because there's, for example, the Sorcery series, which is 4 books. We've got the first of the Cretan Chronicles to do at some point. That's called Blood Feud of Alpheus. There are some new ones that have just been published, 3 or 4 of those. And glancing around, there appear to be publishers other than Fighting Fantasy who are doing similar kinds of things, including an Usborne one. So we will we have a few of the old classic ones to get through yet, but I am quietly trying to assemble some to stretch the genre on a bit, including perhaps some newer ones. But we will we'll play it by ear. We have a few left yet. I think next one might be Seas of Blood,
which sounds very survivable.
Seas of Blood. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Lone Wolf. That's right. I remember that. Yes, you're right. Yes, I think it might be Seas of Blood next. Demons of the Deep is coming at some point. We've got, I think, Appointment with Fear yet to come. We've got Blood Feud of Alpheus. There's 1 or 2 others that I can't remember off the top of my head, and there are a few more that are on my list to add to the selection as we go. So there are a fair few for us to still fail at. This will not be our last failure, I promise. We will have other failures in the future.
And statistically, we might actually win one without dying.
I mean, it's always possible. Always possible. But yes, thank you, Crit. That's a good tip. I've sort of remember some of these vaguely, but I'm rather out of touch with them. But I shall see if I can. I will see if I can locate some of these, because they are classic things. Yeah, sorcery. I either have or have large chunks of. I'm pretty sure I have all of it actually. That was the Shamatanti Hills and Carre City Port of Traps and that series, wasn't it? My copy came with a separate spell book with the first one. So it's effectively 5 volumes, but one of them's just a spell book to be used in the other 4.
That's quite cool.
So I think, yeah, I'm going to have to sort of work out how we would do that on stream, because the idea behind it was you were supposed to read and memorize the spell book and then put it to one side, so you couldn't look it up. You couldn't use it as a cheat sheet. And then as you played, it would sometimes offer you, would you like to cast this spell or that spell? But the spell would just have a code name, which I think was always 3 letters. So there was a spell called, Kef, and a spell called Mac, and things like that. And it would say, do you want to use this one, or this one? And you'd go, I'll use Mac. And you desperately hope you remembered what it did, because it could have been completely useless in that situation, or it could have been brilliant.
I quite like that. That's a really cool idea. I like that.
We'll see if we can dig those out as well. Yeah. Yeah, we are looking for a few more as we go through because they're an entertaining way to while away a couple of hours, or the way we play, 40 minutes usually.
Yeah, it's good fun though, definitely.
They are a good thing. Right,
Yeah.
so just sort of last bits to wind up. Tomorrow night. Oh, thank you. That's useful. Fantastic. Thank you very much. That's useful information. Um, the Yeah, we have tomorrow night. We are doing as suggested the next edition of our ongoing Orbital Blues campaign. The science fiction game that we've basically been shorthanding as Firefly Bebop. It's going to be Luke running the game, and Ewan and I will both be playing, but so will Sock Fiddler, who has now gone to bed, but is always enormous fun to have on our stream. And we will be. I think we're going to go and try and rig a boxing match this time, aren't we?
That is the plan, I believe. Yeah.
So
Depending on what
everything should
Luke
go
throws at
brilliantly.
us. Yeah. There'll be no fighting. There'll just be winning. Lots of winning from us.
I mean, to be fair, the one benefit we have is that we are trying to fail to fix a boxing match.
Yes, that is true.
We're hoping to get caught trying to fix a boxing match.
Yeah, or more precisely, we're hoping the other person gets caught.
So that's got to be
fixing
easier,
said
right? To fix
boxing
one
match.
badly has got to be easier than fixing one well.
You would think so, but we'll see. We'll see.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you, Ewan.
And thank you, Ben. It's been great fun as always.
And we shall do. I think it may be Demons of the Deep next time, or no, sorry, it might be Seas of Blood next time.
Seas of Blood,
possibly. I'll check and make sure I know, but and I will update our ongoing score as to how brilliantly we're doing in this particular sequence of events.
Yeah.
This is something like the 10th or 11th we've played, and we haven't won one yet.
No.
But we have
But we
survived
did not
several
die.
of them.
Yeah.
Which I see as a positive.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your excellent mapping and the way you made one of the bits look very much like Ursa Major.
Yeah, well, it was an odd one to try and map out.
Yes, very strange, wasn't it?
The ones where it doesn't give you one scale, so all of a sudden you're in space and there's an asteroid belt and a moon and a planet, and then you're in a hotel.
Yes.
On the planet. It's very it's a bit awkward, but
little bit.
It served the purposes. But seeing how far we got, I suppose.
Yes, indeed. So we will bid everyone a fond farewell and a good night, and see you all hopefully tomorrow night, same bat time, same bat channel, for Orbital Blues. Good night.
Good night.